Hello, in this video, I'd like to show you how to evaluate the models for numerical predictions. For this tutorial, we'll use the white wine data available from the datasets database for explaining the steps for evaluations. Okay. By the way, all the SQL code we talk about in the tutorial, those are available in the tutorial file. Okay, you can find on the canvas. All right, so let's get the data. Let's copy the data to your database. Okay, so what we do is as you can see over here, from the data available from datasets, dbo.whitewine. As you know, datasets is a database. DBO is a schema. Actually, default is schema. And the white wine is the actual table. And we're going to get everything from that white wine table and then copy it into your own database. So in my case, it's going to be bkim. Okay, so let me change it to bkim. So in your case, of course, you have to use your own database. Okay, so don't choose my database, use your own database. Okay. So let me execute that. All right, so now we have 48 and 98 rows now available. So let's take a look at the data. And also, let's count the number of rows from that white wine. This is a data, this is a table now copied in your own database, okay? So let's take a look. All right, so we have 48, 98 number of rows, and actual data, as you can see over here, is all numerical. We have ID over here, and basically we want to predict the quality. So this is the data compiled from the various wine bottles, and they analyze all those chemical compositions, as you can see over there, and then they measure the quality, as you can see over here, 6, 7, 5, 4, all those numbers. So what we want to do is we're going to build two models. First one is a decision tree model, and the second one is a regression equation. Okay, so before actually showing that, let's take a look at. Actually, we have the data actually copied. Okay, so let me take a look at my database. Aha, so I have dbo.whitewine. Okay. So to properly evaluate those two models, we need to have a testing data. So what we are going to do is divide this white wine data set into two parts. So what we're going to do is we're going to random sample 20% of the data for testing, and the rest of them will be used for training. Okay. So over here, what we're going to do is we'll take a 20% of the data, which will be sampled randomly, and then we're going to put that in a white wine testing table. Okay. All right. So as you can see over here, we have 980 rows sampled from the original white wine table. Okay, and then to get a white wine training table, what you want to do is we need to subtract this table, subtract white wine testing table from the white wine table. If you remember, one of the SQL operations is called the difference operation. So we're going to use a difference operation to take the to receive to get the training data. Okay. So what this one does is we're gonna remove white wine testing data from the white wine data, And then we're going to have 80% of the white wine data, which is not a part of a testing data, will be saved in white wine training data. Okay. All right. So we have 39 or 18 rows now in the training data set. Okay. All right. So let's just make sure how many rows we have for each data set. Okay, so we have so the number of rows for all data from the white wine, and the number of rows for testing, number of rows for training. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, so 49, 48, 98, 980, and the 39, 18. So this is about 20%, and this would be about 80%. Okay, and let's just make sure those two data sets are not overlapping each other. All right, so let's do some intersect operation. Obviously, there's nothing, so our data division turned out to be correct. Okay, so great. So now what you want to do is we're going to use a Visual Studio to build those two models. Again, one for decision tree and the other for the regression model. So before opening the Visual Studio, let's just make sure we actually have those two tables available. Okay, so let's refresh it. So now we have a white wine testing and white wine training. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to use a training data, white wine training, to build two models. And then we're going to use a white wine testing to test those two models to calculate the errors, and whichever providing us the lower errors, and that's the one we are going to use. Okay, so if you haven't opened the Visual Studio yet, why don't you open the Visual Studio? Okay. Okay, now we are in Visual Studio. So let's build a the data mining models. All right. The first we have to read the data. So as usual, let's go to our data source, and then let's build the data sources. Okay, and we're going to build a new. Okay, and the server name, as you may remember, OITAP22. Okay, and we'll use Windows authentication, and my database name is bkimdb. Okay, make sure you're using your own database. Okay, do not type bkimdb. Type your own database name over here. All right, and obviously test it. Okay, looks fine to me. All right, so okay, and then next, and make sure you type your username and the password correctly. For some reasons, a lot of people make mistakes over here, and creating all kinds of troubles down the road. So please type your password very correctly. Okay, so I think I typed my password correctly. I hope actually. So let's move. All right, so we have data source name bkimdb of DS data source. Of course, you're gonna have a different name using your own database. Okay. And finish it. All right, done. And then we need to figure out. We need to take tables we are going to use. Okay. So new data source view. Okay. Okay. And this is the one we are going to use. Okay. And that's okay. So we're going to use a testing and also training. Okay. So I'll just choose white wine testing and the white wine testing. I'm sorry, training. Okay. All right. Of data source view. Okay. DSV. Again, this is my database name, so you should have something else using your database name. Okay. All right. finish. All right, looks cool. All right, so after that, go to mining structures, new mining structures. Okay, next, existing relational database. All right, next. So let's talk from a decision tree. Okay, all right, no problem. And available source view, that's a BKIM DB DSV. Of course, you should have a different name. So we have 2 tables, testing and training. Well, that's all you need. Okay, move on. And we're going to use, obviously, training to build the models. Okay, we are using testing for later to evaluate the models. So make sure you choose a training, white-twine training. Okay. All right. So how about choose all? So we're going to use all the input, but except ID, and then we're going to predict about the quality. Okay, quality. So everything okay. So we have a key, ID for a key, and chose everything as an input except quality, because we're going to make predictions about our quality. All right, so let's look at the data types. Doubles, it's all numerical, by the way, and this is an integer. It looks good. All right, next. And since we already took the 20% of the data for testing, we don't have to take another data for testing. So we're going to have a 0. Okay, so we're going to use a full 80% of the wine data. Okay, so 0. Okay, next, mining structure name. Okay, so how about white wine? I don't know, mining structure, MS. Okay, and mining model. So we are using D tree. So at least we need to know what this is about. Okay, so D tree, finish. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Mining models, everything input, ID key. Okay, we're gonna make a prediction about quality. Looks cool. So let's process it. If you have an error here, probably you typed your password incorrectly. Okay, so then you go back and type your password correctly. So mine's okay. Close it and close it. All right, so this one's cool. And then we're gonna add one more. Okay, can you see that? Create a related mining model. All right. So model name. This time we're gonna use regression. Okay, and for wine. Okay, actually a white wine. And we're gonna build a regression model. Can you see that? Linear regression. So basically, they build one linear regression model for the whole data set, or this time using the training data set. Okay. And as you may remember, D tree, decision tree, use a they build regression models for each node. So probably D tree will give a more accurate predictions anyway, but we'll take a look. Okay, so everything's okay. Regression for white wine, and algorithm is a Microsoft linear regression. Okay, all right, so looks cool, and process it, run. Well, mine looks okay. Again, if you have an error, probably typo. So go back and then type your password more carefully. Okay. All right. So we have 2 models now ready. All right. Okay. Now let's predict the quality for each mining model. Okay. So let's go to a model prediction. So let's select, let me show you again, this one, select model, okay, and then we have two models, D3 model and regression model, okay. How about D3 first, okay, and this time we have a testing data set, so that's what we're going to use. So can you see that? Select case table, okay, and then make sure you choose the right data source. So we have white wine testing, okay. If you have a multiple data source views, you should find what you actually have for this data set, okay. So BKIM, DB, DSB, that's what we have. So we're going to choose a testing data set. All right, looks fine. And then we need to calculate the predicted values and compare with the actual values. So we need to have actual values as well as predicted values. Okay, so actual value was in white wine testing table, and that was a quality, right? So let's find the quality. Okay, so this one we probably want to have an alias. So our actual quality, okay, and then let's look at let's calculate the predicted values, okay. So this will be predicted quality, okay. So can you see the quality? All right, so let's run. So now we have 6, 7, and then this one is 4.7, all these numbers. Okay, so let's save these in your own database so that we can calculate the errors. Okay, so save it. You can see that save button over here. Okay, our data source, choose the right data source if you have multiple data sources, and then let's provide a table name. Okay, so how about D3 predictions? Okay, override it if it exists. It really doesn't matter, first time anyway. All right, save it. It takes some time. All right, looks cool. So let's go back to our database and whether it's actually there. So if you go to our database, okay, let me refresh it. So we have D3 predictions. So let's take a look. So now we have actual quality data and predicted quality, so we can calculate the errors. Okay, so let's do a little later. All right, so this one's cool. So let's do the same thing for the regression model. So we're going to use a regression model. Okay, regression. Okay, and we'll do the same thing. Okay, so this one we're going to get a quality data. So this is actual quality from the table. Actual quality, okay, and then we're going to make a prediction using a regression model. Okay, so this is a predicted quality. Okay, so we're going to predict quality. Okay, so far so good. Okay, let's run. So we have it. So as usual, just like for the just like the decision tree, we're going to save it into your own database. So this one is a regression predictions. Okay, override if it exists. Again, doesn't matter, but it may matter later. So, all right, save it. Okay, so let's go back to a database. Let me refresh it. So now we have a regression predictions, okay, as well as D-tree predictions. Okay, take a look. So we have data. Cool. Okay, now we have two tables ready, the D-tree predictions and regression predictions. So using these two tables, we will calculate MSEs for both D-tree model and also the regression. Okay. All right, so let's create a view first to get a square the difference. So as you can see over here, we subtract the predicted quality from actual quality and square the value. Okay. And then alias is a squared error. Okay, so let's create a view. All right, looks cool. And then we can let's take a look at how it looks like. No problem. So here we have actual quality, predicted quality, and squared error. So that is basically square the difference between these two columns. Okay. And then we need to calculate the sum of those errors. So we need to add all these squared errors. And then we need to count the number of rows. Okay, so let's take a look. So if you do that, so we have 537 point something and then 980. So we can calculate the MSE by dividing this one. I'm divide this by this one. Okay, so let's do that. So select this value, divide by 980. Okay, how about MSE for D-tree? Okay, so MSE D-tree is so 5.548110 or something. Okay, all right. Okay, now we do the same thing for the regression model. Okay, so we create a view, regression prediction errors. So basically we get a square the difference between actual quality and predicted quality. All right, so let's do that. So I create a view. All right, no problem. So let's take a look at it. So it has actual quality, predicted quality, and the squared errors. So now we have to get a sum of squared errors. So let's get a sum of squared errors, and we need to count how many rows are there. Okay. So if you do that, so we have SSE and the n value. So now we need to calculate the MSE. Calculate the MSE for the regression model. Okay. So let's do that. So there will be select this one, divide by this guy. Okay. Oh. Okay. And let's call that MSE of a regression. Okay. So that one is 0.5873 or something. If you remember this one, so let me copy this. Let's compare it. So this one is, so let's run this one again. Okay, so MSE for regression is a 0.587, and the MSE for D-tree is a 0.548. So obviously MSE by the D-tree is smaller. So obviously D-tree provides a more accurate predictions for us. When you think about it, this is kind of obvious because regression model generates only one. The regression model produces only one regression equation for the whole data set, and the D-tree using CART model, they actually produce many regression models, regression equations for each node. So we kind of knew MSE for D-tree would be smaller than MSE regression anyway, but we just confirmed it. So anyhow, based on a MSE values, we believe D-tree provides better predictions or more accurate predictions than regression. All right? Okay, have fun. Thanks. Bye.